The Halloween Massacre, an original novel by Jeremy Terry. Part 1, Reunions. Chapter 1, The Show Must Go On. Dr. Terrence Winn sat smoking a Cuban cigar he'd illegally imported a month ago. He savored the taste before blowing the blue smoke towards the open window in front of him. He leaned forward as a group of stooped men shuffled around the building's corner, escorted by two Smith's Grove security guards. This was a gardening class, meant to bring joy to the nearly catatonic patients of the sanitarium. It was one of his many ideas he implemented over the last several years as the public sentiment shifted more and more towards rehabilitation instead of simple incarceration and medication. He took another puff off the cigar and sighed as he stared out over his own private fiefdom. Life was good, and why shouldn't it be? All he wanted was for Smith's Grove to thrive so that sick people could be made well. Of course, who could blame him if he profited from its success? After all, it had been a hard road after the whole Myers thing. He'd lost count of the number of state and county investigators that had trapezed through the institution in the wake of the incident. You would have thought that Myers was the most prolific serial murderer in recorded history with the way they all blustered about. No one seemed to be able to put it all in perspective. 4 dead in one night was awful, but it didn't make him anything remarkable in the realm of serial killers. The board of directors had almost fired Winn. They needed a scapegoat, and he fit the bill. In the end, Winn convinced them to give him a chance to manage the situation, and manage it he had. He had turned things around, made Smith's Grove into the shining example of state-of-the-art psychological practice that it was. He'd earned national recognition for his work, and everyone had congratulated him. Everyone save for one man, that was Samuel Loomis. The man was a constant thorn in his side. Winn would have gotten rid of the man years ago, but Loomis had friends on the board, so he stayed, never missing the chance to pontificate about the evil thing they housed within their walls. Winn remembered seeing interviews in the aftermath of Myers' escape and killing spree. The news reporter struck gold with little blonde-haired Tommy Doyle. He'd coined a new nickname for Myers, one which Loomis had adopted and ran with: the Boogeyman. That was the title of the sensational article Loomis authored the year after the incident. The article was published in Newsweek in spite of Winn's best efforts to keep it from seeing print. That article set Winn's efforts back 6 months. The Cuban cigar had gone out. Winn eyed it, found he was no longer enjoying it, and put it in a humidor beneath his desk for later use. He turned away from the window, tapping his fingers on the antique, gilded phone on the desktop. He felt his pulse quicken. Any minute now it would ring, bringing with it glorious news. A nationally syndicated talk show called Gerardo Talks had proposed an arrangement. The show's producers and host wanted to film an episode in Michael Myers' hometown of Haddonfield. They wanted Myers and another killer, one Jedediah Sawyer, present on stage for the show. Gerardo wanted to interview witnesses and surviving victims in front of a live studio audience, and the show was offering a substantial donation to the sanitarium to make this happen. Winn and the board thought this a great idea. Loomis did not. The fool had balked, shouting and causing a scene. Winn thought him as crazy as his patients. The man had gone too far this time, and Winn refused to let him stand in the way of such an opportunity. Winn found a conference talking place in a town 50 miles away from Smith's Grove and 100 miles from Haddonfield. He'd scheduled the doctor to attend the 2-week event. Loomis had been gone a week, and that was partly responsible for Winn's good mood. He'd loved the quiet, loved not having to listen to any more elegant monologues about the evil. That's a stupid moniker, he thought. The phone rang and Winn smiled. He lifted the receiver from its cradle and placed it to his ear. "Yes, this is Dr. Winn." "Hello, muchacho," said the smooth voice on the other end of the line. "This is the man you've been dying to talk to, Axel Gerardo himself. How's it shaking?" "Things are good on our end." "Excellent," Gerardo said. Winn heard a prolonged snort from Gerardo's end and envisioned the man bent over a table snorting cocaine through a rolled-up $100 bill. "I will have Myers on site at the television studio tomorrow," Winn continued. "Shackled and under constant armed guard, of course." "I wouldn't have it any other way," Gerardo laughed. "It will make him seem all the more terrifying." "What about the other individual?" Winn asked. "Have you been able to secure him for tomorrow?" "Of course, Kimosabe. Leatherface will be in attendance. This is gonna set network television records, with he and Myers on stage in front of the cameras. Life is great, my friend." "It will be, as long as your people make good on our arrangements," Winn said. "No worries there," Gerardo said. "The donation will be transferred to your people before the end of the day today." "Very good. It's been a pleasure to work with you, Mr. Gerardo." Gerardo scoffed. "What's this Mr. crap? Mr. Gerardo was my grandfather. I never knew my old man. You can call me Axel. Everyone does." Winn rolled his eyes, thinking the talk show host was an insufferable dickwad. He cleared his throat. "Axel it is, then. We will talk soon. Good luck with the show." "You don't need luck when you have talent," Gerardo said. There was a click and the line went dead. Winn shook his head and placed the phone receiver back in its cradle. "Just remember," he thought, "you may find the man repellent, but you absolutely love his money. You can put up with an excess of personality for a few more days." A few more days. He glanced down at the calendar on his desk. The page was flipped to October 1986. He had crossed out each day as it passed, marking the ever-quickening passage of time, one inkblot at a time. It was Thursday, the 30th day of October. The television show would be filmed the following day, October 31st, 1986, Halloween. Loomis had certainly made a big deal about that. He called Winn an idiot. He said that exposing Michael to the public on any day was a horrible idea, but to do it on the anniversary of all of his murders was tantamount to wielding the killing knife himself. Melodramatic as always, Loomis would see. Winn would show him that only good could come from Gerardo's plan. Nothing bad would happen. He was sure of it. Okay, Slashaholics, this has been a short upload, but this has been Chapter 1 of the Halloween Massacre by Jeremy Terry. A little sneak peek into what's to come. I love what he's setting up here. We're kind of skipping some of the sequels, and, we're going to get to put Michael Myers and Leatherface on stage in front of a freaking full crowd on live TV on fucking Halloween. I love this synopsis. I love what Jeremy's doing with this story. The prologue was great. If you have not listened to the prologue yet, please go back and listen to that first. But yes, Chapter 1, it was short, a shorter upload than I was hoping for. Chapter 2 is much longer. I'll be dropping that later this week. But in the meantime, let Jeremy know, and I would like to hear from you too in the comments below what you thought of the prologue and Chapter 1. I dropped the prologue back on Halloween 2024 as a sneak peek, and I'm so excited that I'm finally able to dive into all the chapters of the book. I have not read it yet. I'll be experiencing it for the first time as all of you slashaholics listen to it. So it's going to be a wild ride. I can tell this one is going to be a lot of fun and a bloody good slasher time. So yes, I would love to hear from all of you what you thought of the prologue, which I uploaded back in October, and what you thought of Chapter 1, and pretty much what's setting up the story to come. Are you excited about the two being on a freaking show like that, a talk show? What did you think of the characters, Dr. Winn and Gerardo? Gerardo seems like a normal, run-of-the-mill Hollywood sleazebag, so I'm excited to voice him, obviously. And yeah, I can't wait to see what happens next. So until next time, this has been your friendly neighborhood 80s slasher librarian saying, thanks for listening, be excellent to each other, and remember, the sun never sets on those who ride into it. See you soon.